Hello, how are you doing? Hello, is that actually, yes it is. Okay, it's just a little lower than normal. Hello? Alright, whatever, it doesn't matter, it's high enough. Maybe we'll make the desktop audio a little lower. Oh, in fact, we're not even using the desktop. What am I talking about? Hello, welcome. Please come and listen to some music with me and kind of understand what's going on with it. With me. I am going to take you through another album. It is New Music Friday. So we are going to have a look at some new music. Now it's not going to be whatever these playlists are. It is actually on this Now list. This Now list is the one. But it's not De La Soul. That was last year. These are just albums that I've been trying to get to. But we are going to have a look at this Marta del Grandi album. Now, Marta del Grandi, relatively low pervasion into general culture, but I have been aware of her since her first album because it came out on Fire Records. And I really like Fire Records. I think they have some really cool artists on, and now they have like quite a lot of artists as well, and they've been around for a while, but I think only relatively recently have they been releasing the really cool stuff. Like from about, 2018 was when I found them, and I found them for people like Jane Weaver and Modern Studies. I absolutely love Modern Studies. There's so many. Okay. But yeah, then there were people like Marina Allen as well, really interesting singer-songwriter. And there's this kind of I want to say hauntological, like backwards but present, past but present kind of thing going on with quite a few artists on the label. Anyway, I've scrolled through lots and lots of albums there. But yeah, Until We Fossilize is the first album. I think there's some cool stuff on this album. I have only listened to Selva once or twice, but I think Selva is actually better. And so I'm excited for Dream Life. Haven't listened to anything going into it, but yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going on here? I think we're in for a bit of a treat. Let's see, shall we? Make everything look nice. There we go. Okay. Kind of interesting album cover. Interesting, I guess, choice of outfit with the bare legs. Quite fun. I don't know. Interesting shadows, and yeah, these things on the wall which are cut off on both sides and look very different to each other. I guess we could be saying part of me is these old classic photo style things, and part of me is this slightly newer thing. I don't know, something like that. Let's hear it. You could perhaps. Okay. So pretty straightforward synth intro there. Quite a sort of fizzy, hooty synth, like a little woody sounding synth. And it's just doing A major arpeggio like that, starting on the E though, so it's not as standard as it could be, but it's pretty straightforward. Okay, and then we have a verse.
Still remember, I picture it well, the first time I heard about you.
Unexpected harmony then. So we go from the A to D minor. So that's like, if this is our 1, which it might not be, and then we go to D minor, which would be our like minor 4. This could also be like a 5 in minor, major 5 to a minor 1. What comes after that again?
Remember, I picture it well, the first time I heard about you.
Okay. Alright, interesting. So then we get F major and E. Okay. E major. So 3 major chords that can't possibly exist in the same key. So we're playing around quite a lot with the mode here, I guess. We've got this A, which works just fine by itself, but then when we go to the D, we're looking at D minor, okay, but F major, well, it can exist in D minor, it's just cancelling out that sharpened seventh that we had there. Okay, so that's something maybe more like an Aeolian, like a natural minor. But then the F to the E really specifically indicates like a 6 to a 5 in minor, 6 to sharpened third 5, which would suggest that A minor was our key. Okay, because that has the C and it has the sharpened G sharp. But obviously we're not in A minor because we started with A major. So there's a lot of slightly subtle things going on without big changes in the harmony here. What about the tune? Is there anything really unusual about the tune?
I still remember, I picture it well.
So far nothing by itself, although this is quite fun on the A there, going back and forth between the B and the A. You know, nothing too complicated, but it's nice. And then having that seventh in the D minor chord, that's nice.
The first time I heard about you.
Yeah, it's really only three notes of melody. Very simple, but using them kind of for their most emotional content without being disturbing. Like, we don't use that C in the A chord there because it would clash with the C sharp, but we use the B, and then we have both the C and the B in the D minor chord. We have the B in the F chord, so lots of clash there, and it's only when we get to that E that we suddenly feel the resolution and no more sort of out of chord notes. Okay, well that's a lot to say about the first 12 seconds.
It's been a while.
Oh, also, yes, the melody is actually a lot lower, so the melody is down here, whereas the chord shape is up here. Right? So that change to the B technically is changing the bass note to the chord. Because it's all in this kind of mid-range, it doesn't really feel that way, especially because this is not the chord instrument, it's the melody. But it doesn't feel the same as... that would give it a lot more rooting on that B. But because we're sort of more or less within an octave here, it doesn't quite feel as destabilizing having that there, or that doesn't feel like an F with a C in the bass. It doesn't feel like that. Yeah, and then this. Well, we have that moment, don't we? So we have that F, the B as the base of this F chord for a little bit, but just a little bit, and then it all pretty much resolves for the next bit. Are we going to get basically the same in the next part?
I don't know if we changed. We surely stopped playing it cool.
Yeah, we pretty much are. 3 different phrases, I guess. Ba da 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 da, ba da 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 ba, ba da da ba da da ba. Okay, third one, I guess, a little bit longer than the first 2. So it's like A, B, or something like that. It's, yeah, nothing much to say. Are we going to change after this second time?
If nothing's for nothing, I learned to hold still. Bend my perception of real and unreal.
Yeah. More like 4 phrases now, and we've gone higher. We've still got the same chord sequence, but now we're in the same range as that chord sequence with the E there. It comes down to the C, and we're using more notes. We're using the C sharp there, and we're using the F, which can't exist in the same key. So I guess they could exist in a D minor with a sharp and C sharp, but yeah, regardless, we've already talked about that. And it's the kind of same shape there. Da 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 is like da 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 da, just on different notes, and then da 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 is like da 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 da. Okay, so same kind of shape. Then these next two phrases not quite the same. Da 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 da, something like that. So it's instead it's jumping down a fourth and jumping down a fourth again, and they're very in with the chord, rather than having any kind of outside chord notes or spiciness. It's much more uncomfortable, but the melody is maybe a little more interesting just in terms of its movement, so it keeps up the excitement, I guess.
And each word's a sword and gets twisted around. Can we bend enough to push through?
And that's the same as the first one.
If I can fit.
So we've still got the same thing going on with that synth, but we've got a bigger, sort of brassier, giving us these big chords underneath. And we've got harmony on the melody. So we've got if I, that one, we've got if I, low notes can fade. Okay, slower melody, just a couple of notes. And holding on that second note both times. Does it carry on like that?
In the dream I inspired in you.
No, so the later part there, let's call this the chorus. Later part of the chorus has more movement like the verse. Dream I inspired in you. Dream I inspired in you. So that's just following the chords in both the parts there. And they're about a sixth apart, sixth or a fifth. Yeah, very locked together.
It doesn't quite mean I'm not the one you once knew.
That's good, yeah. There's a little bit of like quite accurate rhythm, considering there's no drums here, and really we've only got one thing keeping a regular pulse. You would expect that the melody, the sung melody, would have a little more push and pull with it, but actually it's fairly rhythmically specific, and we have a moment there where it comes in off the beat in a specific way. Let's hear it again.
Push through.
Okay, that was a bit far back.
If I can fade.
Yeah, that's an example. So if I can fade. So yeah, we've got this 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 is where it comes in, and coming in that kind of place, it just has this bit of a jolty feel. The more common thing would be either to come in on the 1 or even on the 3. So if I can fade, okay, so that would be coming in on the 3. I guess that makes it sound a little bit rushed, but then so a much more relaxed version. If I can fade, right, coming in on the 1 there, that feels more comfortable, but instead it comes in this jolty place in the middle. I can fade, which might be the best one, but nonetheless it has that slightly unusual feel to it.
It doesn't quite mean I'm not the one you once knew.
Okay, well, we got a hit of the kick drum there, didn't we? And we kept on going with this E chord.
A room full of bugs, but you can hear.
This was actually one of the highlights of seeing Marta del Grandi live, was that she had this really cool drummer who managed to make a lot of different textures in this quite sparse atmosphere. Very sparse in this, isn't it? We've got one melody instrument and one chordal instrument. Okay, so we've really just got those, and then one more chordal instrument comes in that chorus, and one, I guess, more melody instrument just to harmonize with the melody. But it's pretty simple stuff, and we've got the drums coming in this next section, and it sounds like quite a lot of what we had before is dropping out. chords, and
A
then
room full of
what's it got?
bugs, but you can hear a sound. Our memories scattered on the ground.
These notes sound like very low grade sort of MIDI strings. Let's see if I can find some not quite this low grade. I think they are kind of spelling out the same chords. So this is another verse section, but with very different texture, because we've got drums giving us pretty regular rhythm, although they are quite bitty. It doesn't feel like a full kit being used with each thing having its own pattern. It's like going across the kit using several different things in each sort of section at different times. That's the specificity of what I'm trying to say. And then without these chords, we've just got them slowly being spelt kind of by that one MIDI string instrument. If it's not MIDI, it sounds surprisingly like MIDI.
We went through the pieces of my legacy. You helped me to sort them all out.
Yeah, it's almost doing a counterpoint, because we get my legacy and then ba-da-doo. We get that in the background. There was also a sort of shimmery voice chord up here as well, which was nice, just for a moment there. Really, the drums are almost the main thing in this first section.
When we lose the
Really nice sort of distortion on one of those, I think it's just that kick drum at the bottom, and it's got this distortion on it, whereas the others seem compressed but also quite low in the mix. So there's an element of them fighting against their bounds, their compression bounds.
When fear overrules, we push every edge of a silent dispute.
Yeah, very interesting things going on in the backing, the voices there. They're very unpredictable. Each different like 2-bar section seems to have a different accompaniment style. That's really fun. Also, let's say there's basically no reverb on any of this. There is a slight bit on the... It's funny when I say things like that and then I immediately say that I'm wrong. But there is a slight bit that's noticeable on the backing vocalists. So they sort of appear in this space. But most other things are just right at the front of the sound, which is interesting. I guess the drums have a bit of room to them, because drums kind of have to.
Too many are the triggers to set it all up. I'm hungry and tired, are you?
Just ending there with are you. Everyone ends on the B. That's meant to be our nice big E chord, but we just have the B. And even the drums drop out. It's very, very stark, very unusual. Yeah, some interesting rhythmic things happened in that previous bit, didn't they, as well? Tell me what they were.
If I can fit in the dream I inspired in you.
So this is much more like an actual drum beat, isn't it? Like, yeah. So we're in 6/8 here. I should have said we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are we? Well, no, not really. I guess we need to think of that a bit faster. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. So maybe more 12/8s with quite a fast rhythm. But these drums give us 3s in a slightly different way, I think.
In the dream I inspired in you.
Yeah. No, I guess that's pretty much giving us our rhythm as we might expect.
In the dream I inspired in you. It died.
Yeah. So, okay. We've got the polyrhythm there then, or the polymeter, if you like. We've got 2s against 3s because we've got the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we've also got the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which ends up being 1, 2, 1, 2. So we've got 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, kind of being emphasized at the same time. Not every single bar, but that is kind of in the background, and that's a fun thing with 6/8, because it kind of 6/8, 6 quavers, 6/8 notes work in the same space as 3 quarter notes, so you can play around with those two things quite a lot, and that's kind of what's going on here. Or 12/8 fits in the same space as 6 quarters, I guess.
Quite me.
So we've got those brassy ones back again, but still very, very slight environment. I wonder if that's going to change before the end of the track.
I'm not the one you once knew. I can't.
Okay, getting some higher harmonies.
For having wasted your time. You could.
Yeah, the drum groove is actually a little bit more dynamic than it seems at first. It's got a little bit of a pause at the end of each 2-bar section, which is nice. We get this drum, and then we carry on, and that there's a bit of free flowingness to it. It's not always got the snare in the same place, for instance.
Perhaps consider it a training of some kind.
Yeah, very, very interesting elements of the texture. It feels like this from the beginning, which is still giving us the same chords, is slightly more distorted now. And that might just be because we've got the drums in a little louder, but we've also got this melody coming down. Which is lovely, the way it ends there on the E, which goes against that D chord quite nicely. It's an added 9. Really nice. What else have we got? Oh yeah, we've got bass. Bass is giving us the roots of our chords finally, because we haven't had those really since it's doing this kind of walking thing. Yeah, no. It sounds like there's a flute at the top. It sounds like that's what's doing the melody there. Nice. But again, very distorted, not giving us a really nice acoustic verite environment here. Some of the drums are sort of suddenly giving us extra space in the pan as well, which is lovely. It just feels very unpredictable and fun. Yeah, so each end of 4 bars we sort of give up on the dissonances, because we can have all that, you know, those added notes to the chord while we're in not the 4th bar, but then we just come down and fit in that 4th bar, and there's a little bit of a calm space around that 4th bar, which is interesting. Now we've got real brass, it sounds like. Maybe it was real brass before, but now it sounds very real, and the voices go really nicely. We're getting some very interesting chords here. So that one's just a standard chord. Sounds like we've got something like that, low third, which is fun. And that's pretty much the same as well. We've got those in the middle there. Something like that overall. Yeah, that one's fun. We've got those, and we've got the F. Something like that then. I guess, which is an F chord on a G chord, but we don't have the G in there. Any other way we can think of that? Yeah, we could think of it as a half diminished, or a Tristan chord, or a minor 6 chord. Yeah, more exciting than the standard one we get in that third chord position. Yeah, and that is something like that. I'm not sure we have the 7th in there actually, I couldn't find that. There's our previous. No, I can't hear it, I can hear bong, which is fun. So we got extended, added flat 13 at the top there. Ooh, which really goes against that B at the bottom. An interesting choice of voicing. Yeah, overall worth waiting for. Same kind of thing. Okay, so there's our D minor again, but this time with that added B that made the previous F chord into that half diminished or Tristan chord. That doesn't even sound like an F chord anymore. Yeah, I think it's those. Is there maybe a C at the top? Yeah. So that's no longer a really rich chord. This is more of a sort of open, strange chord. It's sort of like a D7, but we don't have any third in it. We don't have an F in there, which would make it a D7. And I guess if the F were at the bottom, it would, sorry, D minor 7, it would make it if we had the F, but if we had the F at the bottom, it would make it an F6. We don't have either of those though, so we have this strange open sounding chord. And then quite a substantially more comfortable final E chord to fit in the end there. Okay, interesting. So, yeah, quite a nice beginning. I wouldn't say it was vastly ambitious, but I think that it had some really nice things. Now, I don't think we can have watery synths in that one, but we could have fizzy synths. So why not? Let's put that fizzy synths. Interesting delivery as well, wasn't there? Seeing as I've seen robotic voice down here. Very softly sung, and this is a comment for Marta Grandi's general stuff. Very softly spoken, very comfortable and calmly delivered stuff. Fizzy synths, what else did we like? To be honest, I did like the 4-chord sequence, so I need to find a way of putting 4-chord sequence in here without upsetting myself. Let's get rid of hi-fi sound effects. Let's put unexpected or unconventional chord sequence maybe. It's not so vastly unconventional, because you could understand this as the 5 of 4 if you like, and then that's the 6 and the 5. But the 5 of 4 is a major chord on the tonic, which is a little bit unusual. So unusual chord sequence. Alright. Oh, this is definitely going to go off the edge. Never mind. Unusual chord sequence. Alright, so we got that. Now, we're in 3s. Did we really get an exact rhythm? We got 3s and 2s together, but we didn't get them really making a specific rhythmic pattern, other than after 2 bars comes up we get 1, 2, 3. I don't think it's strong enough to call it exact rhythm, what we've got going on there. Modal interchange, you could argue it, but really the melody stays more or less in the same place most of the time. We have a couple of C sharps. Go on. I think we can't deny it. Multi-octave cohesion, not really. Fizzy synths, yep. Not a robotic voice. Not really approximate pitch. Held dissonance, yes, there were definitely a few of those. Instrumental, yes, we did have one. Quite short, though it could have been longer. Gigantic reverb, certainly not. Morphing echoes, no. Other worlds chord change, no. Strophic, not quite. I mean, actually, kind of, yeah. It is strophic. Strophic meaning that it's basically like an A section followed by an A section followed by an A section, doesn't deviate from that. And we kind of do have that. We have like the verse and the chorus, then we have the verse and the chorus, and then at the end there we have an instrumental verse followed by the same chords in the chorus, admittedly not with the chorus words or chorus melody, but I would still say that that's basically strophic. And it just follows the same chord sequence the whole time, so that's a reason to call it strophic, if nothing else. Soundscape, no. False relations, I guess. Well, a weak or no. Let's not have that. We do have modal interchange, but we don't have false relations. Let's say unexpected section addition, definitely not. Okay, heavy chromaticism, no. Big textural shifts, no. Distorted well, we had one big textural shift, I suppose, didn't we? But I think it was built into somewhat, so I'm not going to give it. Distorted bass, no. First beat percussion drop, no. Contrary motion, I guess so. I guess we had a brief moment of contrary motion in there. Improvised feel, no, definitely not. Riff, no, not really. Slow build in texture, yeah, I would say slow build in texture is more close to what we have. We can't really get away with having big textural shifts and slow build in texture, can we? Something's always going to have one but not the other most of the time. And rhythmic displacement, no, we didn't have that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's not great. But it's a piece of music. It was nice to listen to. Dream Life is our next one, and that will have to be the last one. Let's hear it. Okay, starting with drums here, and they sound very acoustic. Oh. Yeah. And we've got a guitar. That sounds quite nice. Interestingly, in A flat major. Very straightforward rhythm. Sounds like it's multi-tracked a few times and spread across the pan, which is nice. Okay, verse.
To say I've been making up stories.
I was worried for a moment we got the same thing there. It could have been you say I've been making up stories, and then we would have had the same melody and chord sequence to begin with, but instead we've got the major chord there. So we got that. So we got you say I've been making up stories, I think. So it's the 1 to the 4 like it was the last time, but they're both major this time, so it sounds a lot more comfortable and friendly.
And ever since I was a child, I tend to cry too much.
Wow, that's not a usual one. Okay, so our next added chord there is an F sharp minor chord, or a G flat minor chord if you like. No, G flat minor. Ugh, it's got an B double flat in it. We don't want that. So that recontextualizes things quite a lot, especially with that 4th chord we get to, which is another C sharp chord or a D flat chord. Yeah, this is really, if we were going to notate this, it would look disgusting no matter which way we did it, because these chords are using a lot of black notes and they are chromatic, so there's some unusualness there. We can't just put the key signature in and make that be okay. So the A major, totally straightforward, and that fits A flat major fits really well with the D flat major, and then we get this G flat minor. Now this G flat minor, I guess, would be the 4 of the D flat major, so we could see the A as the 5 going to 1, and then have the 4 there, and then we come back to 1, and that kind of makes sense. So it doesn't feel like that to begin with, when we get da da, that's quite nice, and that's using this B flat. Da da. Okay. But then when we get to the G flat minor, we don't have that note anymore. We have B double flat. We have B double flat. Da. So we're already changing mode there, having something quite unusual. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. They're not often used together. Let's hear that one more time.
You say I've been making up stories, and ever since I was a child, I tend to cry too much.
Yeah, lovely. So the scale there, and ever since I, already doing a little bit of an unusual thing. That's sort of putting us into, yeah, G flat minor for a bit, but really, and that works very nicely in that D flat major chord. And ever since my, and then we just walk through da 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 da. Walk up 1 2 3 1 2 3 3 4 5 5, and then we keep going, but with a jump. We don't go dee dee dee. We go da 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 da. So we jump back down to the A, and then we have the F. Da 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 da. Now the F is very, very beautiful against that G flat minor. And it resolves very nicely into the next chord. Quite a spicy beginning.
You think
Well, and straight back.
that it can
Feels a little bit abrupt, doesn't it? Because after we've had that quite beautiful, romantic kind of sound from those two chords, then going back to this bright, friendly 5, it just seems a little odd.
be misleading to keep on pretending each moment is a movie scene.
So very similar there, very similar, just adapting it for the words. Yeah, we've got sort of an emphasis on some comfortable, and less comfortable out of chord notes as well. So I'm enjoying that.
If nothing is real or can be undone, I never needed a crystal ball. If I could
Ba-da-da. Unexpected, sudden raise of the whole chord and melody. So normally we have da-da-da-da, something like that. Now we're da-da-da. Again, this doesn't really fit in the D flat world. D flat major world. This is a B flat major chord, and they are a tertiary shift away from each other. They can't exist in the same key, so that's pretty fun. Specifically, this has a D in it rather than a D flat. So yeah, so that's quite unexpected. And then we go to an F minor and an A flat. So far we've had A flat major, D flat major, G flat minor, B flat major, and F minor. And can you hear how loads of those sound like very different sound worlds? But because I guess of the sparseness of the texture and the straightforwardness of delivery, they don't quite hold the sort of dramatic punch that they often do in sort of orchestral music or in bigger ensembles generally. Louder ensembles. We're using very distinct colours, but on a very small canvas, I guess.
go back in time and be ahead of it all.
And be ahead of it all. And then it feels like 4 5 1 to go to A flat major. But we thought we were in D flat major. Yeah. It's really foxy here. We can't really say what's the root in a lot of these sections, or they kind of have a clear root that then is refuted, a refuted root. in the next section. It's interesting. It's a slightly different pattern on the guitars here. Da, 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 da. So really emphasizing those offbeats, not playing very much on the sort of the 1 and the 3 of the bar, but playing on the and 2 and 4 and. So that's something. Slightly different. Feels maybe a little more jaunty or something like that.
Any difference, the future and the past.
Very straightforward section in comparison. The most interesting thing about it is those interesting extra things in the percussion.
If I had known it could be so easy.
Feels a little brighter, doesn't it? Definitely. And we are higher in the melody. Could be so easy. So we're up an octave from where we started. Really nice melody there, all the way up to that D flat and then coming down the scale, ending on the the C. And I think the bass ends on the C as well to give us an unexpected first inversion chord there. There's just odd angles to quite a lot of what's going on here.
Some people
Like added bars out of nowhere. We added a ba 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 da ba, and then 1 2 an extra bar of drums as well. Just added a wonky edge, if you like. Okay, is this going to be another verse? Yeah, seems so far like that. Oh.
But me, I prefer to be quiet and keep it to myself.
Very similar. Interestingly, there we have 2 voices. Maybe we had that earlier, 2 voices doing the same line, but here, 2. One comes a little earlier than the other, so they get a bit out. Interesting, but I don't know if that's important. Maybe that's deliberate.
'Cause often
Interesting. We've got a few of these big jumps. Cause that's just a 5th actually. There's still life. If you know that Suede song, same kind of thing, but then we get as well, big 6th jump there. Those are really nice.
if I say it out loud, it slips through my.
I guess there is a little more going on in the ensemble here. There's bass and there's a little bit of piano appearing from time to time, and guitar is doing a little bit more texturally, like putting in a few sort of arpeggiated notes. There's maybe 2 guitars doing different things here, whereas they were doing pretty much the same thing before.
Fingers, I ask myself, what did I miss? If nothing is real,
These are
can I take
pre-chorus.
control? Do any of my actions?
Really nice extra line there. I mean, simple enough, but it sounds really nice on that electric piano or distorted piano. We've also got some vocal harmonies in here, locked to the main vocal. Very soft, not very intrusive, unlike that piano line.
Matter at all if I could go back in time and do it all over again. Dream life.
Yeah, this is not my favourite section. I like kind of what's going on in the other sections quite a lot, but then this is just too jolly for me.
How can you tell if it's real?
We've got very tinkly things happening in the piano up at the top, like an extra melody going on.
Let me see through your eyes. Don't make it disappear.
And also that's got loads of reverb to it. It's really just doing a scale there as well.
If I let it roll, where will it take us?
Yeah, so those vocal harmonies are really locked in, doing that kind of thing. maybe there, something like that. Very, very triadic anyway.
It's just a little switch to obey the possibility.
Actually, I think the harmonies are in octaves. So we have the main melody there, and then we have 2 octaves, which makes it, yeah, it does make it sound like a particular style of music. A little bit calypso, maybe. I'm not quite putting my finger on it though. Bridge kind of hooky section. Change of key to D flat maybe. There's another one of these minor 6 chords on that D flat minor 6. Ooh, moving us back. This is slinky harmony, right? Because we get this A flat, which we've been totally happy with existing with the E flat, but now we get a G flat, which means the E flat's well out. Okay, and that G flat takes us quite comfortably to D flat though, which still works very nicely. And then this one does not work nicely with that at all, but it does sit quite nicely with the A flat there, at least in a dramatic way. Not much of that in the melody, by the way. The melody is very comfortable, mostly pentatonic stuff in that section. Whoa! Ba-da-da. Really low there on the, I guess, old Barry sax suddenly coming out of nowhere in the 3rd minute. Yeah, so we've got that tinkly piano up there, we've got the main melody in the middle, and then we got boom! Really nice, sort of mid, soft, extra melody. Kind of 3 melodies at the same time then. Very polyphonic and much more texturally intense than what was going on in the previous song.
I can't tell any difference, the future and the past. If I
nice bass lines as too.
had known it could be so easy, I'd have surrendered and let it all go a long, long time ago.
So the melody there does the rhythm of the guitars, doesn't it? Da 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 da. Yeah. And then we end there on the E flat chord, unexpectedly not resolving. Okay, interesting one. I was not massively into that, but it did have some interesting corners, didn't it? Let's get rid of big textural shifts and let's replace it with baritone sax, which keeps getting in here and I keep getting rid of it. I'm sorry about that. It gets you every time though. It is such a beautiful, breathy, yeah, just gorgeous sounding instrument. I don't know why it's not used more, maybe just because it's so big. But the baritone sax, definitely a lovely thing that we had there. Should we just put polyphony? I think that's an easy one to get in. Let's get rid of morphing echoes, I guess, because I don't really know what that means. Polyphony. To be honest, polyphony is a bit strong because, whoa, I'm writing this crazy. Because the baritone sax was doing little bits from time to time, the melody over the top, that's not much of a melody, and it only happened a few times, so it's a little strong, but we're going to give it anyway. Polyphony, gigantic reverb, no. Other words, chord change, sadly not. Could have happened, but didn't. Strophet, no, because we had a middle section, didn't we? As much as it was short, that bridge section made an important change. Not really accent. What am I? I'm just jumping over things. We didn't have an unexpected section addition. We didn't have false relations, but we did have a lot of chromatic. Yeah, we did have heavy chromaticism, I will say, in this one. Modal interchange, sort of. Yeah, it's hard not to say that that's modal interchange, I suppose. Baritone sax we know we had. We didn't have distorted bass, but we did have nice bass. Unusual chord sequence, I think we have to give it that. Multi-octave cohesion, we did have that in the harmonies, didn't we? So there you go. Slow build-in texture. Yeah, I suppose so. First beat percussion, no. Other things dropped on the first beat, but not percussion. Contrary motion, not that I noticed. Improvised feel, no. Rhythmic displacement, no. Fizzy synths, no. We didn't have any synths in that one. That was a whole lot more acoustic, wasn't it? Interesting. But still with the very laid back feel. We did get some higher notes which got a bit more passionate though. Approximate pitch, no. Held dissonances, yes. We got that just for a little. It wasn't very held, was it? I suppose. I don't know. Maybe we don't deserve that one, but I'm going to give it. Instrumental, just a brief one, but it's there nonetheless. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 again. Okay, well that is Marta del Grande's overall score. Right. Okay. Well, maybe I haven't convinced you with that. If you like harmonies, there's probably some interesting things in there for you. Very soft, so if you like relaxed music, you know, Mac DeMarco. I am massively not a fan of Mac DeMarco, but he does make quite laid-back music. So yeah, there's that. That might be a selling point. If you like the softness of it, if you like slightly middle of the road, overdone styles of music, maybe. I don't know. This not quite as exciting as I was hoping it to be, but this is just the beginning of the album. Admittedly, a lot rides on the beginning of the album, but maybe there will be other things going on in the other parts of the album. I don't know. Anyway, see you soon. Have a great life and a great day, and enjoy yourself while you can. It is later than you think.